Accused murderer Bryan Kohberger set to be back in an Idaho courtroom tomorrow. The question, whether the judge will allow a camera in the courtroom for his upcoming trial for the murders of those 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, Xander Kernodle, and Madison Mogen. Both the defense and the prosecution seem to agree they don't want cameras in the court over the strenuous objections of various media organizations, and I'll tell you who else is joining them in a moment. But the defense arguing in a motion that past courtroom coverage of Kohberger at other hearings seemed to focus only on images of him, not on wider shots of the courtroom, and the coverage so far has been, quote, blatantly sensationalistic and prejudicial headlines and content, and the images and coverage, quote, gradually poison the potential jury pool prior to trial even occurring, winnowing the number of jurors able to render a just, unbiased verdict. Prosecution agreeing, writing, quote, the state is concerned that allowing the presence of cameras in the courtroom will have a substantial chilling effect on the ability of witnesses to openly, fully, and candidly testify about some horrible occurrences. One of those witnesses, sure to be a surviving roommate, who told police she saw a man with a mask and bushy eyebrows leaving the house after the murders. Now, the media organizations argue the public has a right access to public proceedings. After all, it is the people of the state of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. And that's especially important, they say, and I happen to agree, in a death penalty case for all to see when the stakes are so high. In the end, it will be up to the judge to decide. Joining me now, NewsNation senior national correspondent Brian Entin, who is live in Moscow, Idaho, ahead of tomorrow's hearing. He has been following this case from the beginning. Brian, good to see you. All right, so one might think, because the defense and the prosecution agree here, that there's no shot, but this judge has been pretty open to having a camera in the proceedings thus far, right?
Yeah, he has, Dan. You know, the defense hasn't wanted cameras for a while. There was this motion a while back that the media wasn't allowed to zoom in on Kohberger anymore. The judge then didn't throw the cameras out altogether. He just said, hey, keep a wide shot. Now the defense is saying they're still zooming in. We got to get rid of the cameras. And the prosecution agreeing, interestingly now, but for different reasons, which you talked about. They're worried about the witnesses being intimidated, some of the emotional witnesses. What's interesting, though, is now the families are speaking out, both the Kernodle family and the Gonzalez family. Their attorney sent me a statement a little while ago saying, we want the cameras. We feel like this whole thing has been way too secretive since the beginning, and we think it's important for the public to see exactly what's going on.
And I was really interested in that. I want to read a little bit of that statement that they sent you. This is from the 2 families. It is vitally important that trial be open to the public to view and watch. There's an enormous amount of media coverage about this case, some good, some bad. And with that comes the responsibility of the court to ensure a fair trial. The case is surrounded by secrecy. Everything is either sealed or redacted. The family has not received any discovery on this case or any information about the facts of the case from the state. So let me ask you this. Is there a rift now between the prosecutors and the families, not just with regard to a camera? I mean, it sounds like these are families that are frustrated.
You know, it's been a little bit of an up and down relationship, Dan. There's always been a little bit of a weakness between them. I mean, they obviously support the prosecution, but at the same time, the families have felt like they've been in the dark. I mean, they've wanted more information about the investigation. They basically don't know any more about what police have than the public, which has sort of frustrated them since the beginning. And they've felt like there's this secretive vibe to the whole thing, which is one of the reasons they say they think the cameras are important.
Yeah, and I should just say, the idea that somehow zooming in on Kohberger is going to impact his right to a fair trial or not is not a particularly powerful argument as far as I'm concerned. What do people there at the courthouse expect that the judge is going to do?
You know, it's kind of it's been interesting. Some people want the cameras and agree with the families. Others are just sick of the media in general. This is a small town. They've never had anything like this. They want the media out of here. They don't care about the cameras. There's a lot of frustration I found just in town and on campus that the trial's being delayed. You know, he waived his speedy trial. It could be a year, could be 2 years from now. I think the town wanted to get this over with.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.